school with you. Kid Cuisine Back to School Notebook Day on September 2nd.
The first pitch, and Doc Gooden is hit on the leg. He charges the mound. Both of the dugouts are clearing. A brawl is happening right in front of the mound. The first pitch thrown by Combs hit Doc Gooden on the leg. Doc didn't waste a moment. He went right at the pitcher. They collided. They went to the ground. You can't see either one. There are so many players in the brawl right now. Now the players are there from the dugouts. Darryl Strawberry is into the middle of it, trying to get his buddy Doc Gooden out of there.
They finally got Gooden out. Julio Machado has a hold of him, and he's pulled him out of the pile, but the pile is still battling.
And there are some punches being thrown this time. This is not your usual brawl. Now one of the Phillies goes flat on his back. Joe West is a huge guy. The umpire is holding somebody over there, probably one of the coaches. No,
I think it's Dennis
Cook, one of the relief pitchers. And now it is starting to cool down just a little bit.
Catcher Darren Dalton was right on the bottom of the pile, and he was battling with a couple of Mets.
Darryl Strawberry is right in the middle there. About three guys are trying to hold him off. Obviously, Dwight Gooden had hit two batters in this ball game tonight. It certainly appeared to be strictly by accident. But Gooden was hit on the leg. He knew he had been thrown at. He went right at Pat Combs. They came together in a hurry. And now Doc Gooden and Roger McDowell are there side by side, and Roger's trying to calm Doc down. No punches being thrown right now, but it could start up again any minute.
Boy, there was a lot of activity in the middle of that scrum. Julio Machado finally was able to pull Doc out of the pile, but Darren Dalton was right on the bottom with a couple of Mets. I couldn't see exactly who it was, and they were really going at it even after Doc had been pulled out, and the players are still milling around. Nobody wants to go back. The pack is moving out behind the mound now, but it's not clear at all that this thing is over yet.
Bobby Ojeda and Roger McDowell both standing next to Doc Gooden, trying to calm him down. Of course, Roger and Doc were the best of friends when Roger pitched for the New York Mets. And Doc does not want to leave there. Bobby Ojeda and Ron Darley now are trying to push him back away from the scene.
And as they push him, the entire pack of players follows them along. First behind the mound, then out toward the second base position. But they still are not completely breaking this thing up. Now Darryl Strawberry wants to go on it with somebody, and he's going after somebody.
Yeah, there's the real brawl going on now. Strawberry charged into the crowd trying for somebody.
He was trying to get at Darren Dalton. Dalton's been belligerent through this whole thing, and Darryl wanted so badly to get him.
Oh, Mackey Sasser's got somebody on the ground. Magadan goes down, somebody on top of him. This is a real baseball brawl.
Kevin McReynolds finally has a hold of Strawberry, but there is a huge pile now right on top of the pitching mound.
Howard Johnson holding Strawberry, trying to keep him from being thrown out of the ball game.
Dave Magadan's right at the bottom of the pile now. Mackey Sasser just got pulled out of it.
And it breaks out again.
And now Tim Tuffle is trying to get back into it, but the umpire is holding him back. Now finally they break up whatever's going on down on the ground. They're trying to get the players in the middle of it to get back on their feet and trying to clear some space for them, but nobody wants to move away.
It was almost as though Doc thought he was going to be thrown at when he came up to bat. The very first pitch hit him right on the leg. He went right after it, and here they go again. It's breaking out all over again. And one of the Mets is knocked flat on his back, and about 3 or 4 Phillies land on top of him.
I think that was Strawberry who just took a powder, and I think it was Darren Dalton who got him. Those two had wanted to go after each other. They finally did.
Darryl Boston in there trying to pull somebody off. There are just so many bodies out there, you can't really see the individual battles that are taking place.
Now finally, Wally Whitehurst pulls Dalton out of it, but Strawberry is still down in the middle of it.
Boy, Dalton is really a wild man in there.
Dalton's finally standing outside the pile by himself, but there's no telling what's going to happen once Strawberry gets back on his feet again.
And you have to hope that nobody will suffer a serious injury.
Boy, it's going to be tough for the umpires to sort this thing out and figure out who stays and who goes.
Now Darren Dalton is backed away and moved out to the perimeter. Greg Pavlik, the pitching coach, assistant pitching coach, has his arms around Dwight Gooden, and he has Doc out away from the pack.
And now Strawberry's finally back up on his feet. The Phillies bullpen coach Mike Ryan was right in the middle of it. Now Strawberry's outside the pack and milling around. And Nick Leyva's standing in the middle of it talking to Harry Wendelstedt as they try and get this thing finally cleared up.
Boy, they're going to have a tough job sorting this one out. You know, 2, 3, maybe 4 guys will get thrown out of the game.
It may not be over yet. The pack is still milling around. Strawberry out on the perimeter on one side. Dalton standing off beyond the pack on the other side. And now the umpire is stepping in the middle and trying to convince people to go back to their dugouts.
And you worry about your pitchers in a situation like this. If they throw a punch, they might break their pitching hand. They've got to be awfully careful. But when you lose your temper and the fight is on, you don't stop and think about those things.
Well, they're finally clearing some space between the two teams. The Phillies generally on the left side of the mound and the Mets generally on the right side of the mound. And it looks like they may finally decide to go back. But
well, this is not your typical baseball brawl.
No, not at all.
This was a real battle.
There they finally head back to the dugouts. There were 5 or 6 times when hostilities broke out again. Strawberry got taken down hard by Darren Dalton in the final affair.
Mackie Sasser had somebody on the ground. There were a lot of people on the ground. Oh, so many people out there. Everybody was there. Even the bullpens cleared. And the fight lasted long enough so that when they got out there, they had plenty to do.
Well, the one thing you can assume is that Dwight Gooden will be thrown out of the game. Beyond that, you just don't know. They could throw out half a dozen or a dozen on either side if they wanted to.
They may not, because a warning had not been issued. Doc Gooden had hit 2 of the Philadelphia batters, both of them obviously by accident. Doc just does not have good command of his stuff here tonight, and it was just as obvious that Pat Combs threw at Doc Gooden. It was the very first pitch that hit Doc right on the leg. It was as if to say, here, if you're going to hit our people, we're going to hit you. So he went right after Combs, and the fight was underway, and that was a real fight. And we won't really know until after this game is over, and you start studying the close-up action of the film when you talk to the guys down in the clubhouse, who got the licks in and who didn't get the licks in.
Everybody had a piece of somebody at some point. There were a lot of punches thrown, a lot of scrums down on the ground. And now Buddy Harrelson and Nick Leyva and each of their dugout coaches, Doc Edwards and Hal Lanier, out talking with the 4 umpires between the mound and home plate as Harry Wendelstedt and his crew try and figure out just who's going to stay and who's going to go.
Well, it was the first pitch by Pat Combs right at Doc Gooden, hit him right on the leg. And Doc went right after him, and the two came together, and Darren Dalton arrived afterwards and was really hitting Doc with his fist on the back of the head.
Yeah, he got some licks in good, so it was Dalton who was probably the angriest on the Phillies side. Doc looked like he was ready to charge the mound before the ball even hit him. He was on his way out to the mound before the ball ever got there.
Yeah, I said that earlier. It was almost as though Doc knew he was going to take a hit. And the minute he got hit, away he went. Now, the catcher will always follow that pitcher out when he goes out to charge the mound. So when Doc was in grappling with the pitcher, Pat Combs, the catcher, Dalton, coming up from behind, was able to slam into Doc. That knocked Doc to the ground, and, of course, Dalton then was able to get his licks in.
Well, Nick Leyva and Buddy Harrelson right now are pleading their cases with Harry Wendelstedt. Everybody trying to save as many of their players as they can, but, you know, you wonder, it's like a referee in a hockey fight. How do you take notes after a while?
There's just so many things going on out there.
You remember yesterday, David Cohn had a ball thrown over and behind his head by the Phillies' Don Carmen, and Cohn just kind of nodded out at him. Never retaliated, though, when Carmen came to bat. But here in this ball game, with Doc having hit 2 hitters already, it may be that somebody on the Phillies said something to Doc and warned him that he was going to get hit, that he was already prepared to charge.
Well, I may be wrong, but I thought that when Doc hit the 2 Philadelphia batters, that it was because